So, folks, there is a story that I covered about a week ago about ICE making some really terrifying arrests in Charlottesville, Virginia. And specifically, this case involved an agent in like a ski mask going into a courthouse. It's terrifying.
I can stop you a little bit.
Sam News, thank you for the $5 dono. I appreciate it. But this raid was unnerving. It was scary. And basically these ICE officers not broken, but they came into a courthouse and arrested a man who was leaving his hearing. And two bystanders who were there from like an ICE rapid response hotline, which is a hotline people who think they might be targeted by ICE can call, and then people come out to like protect and oversee your rights during a potential ICE encounter. It's a really brave thing for people to do. And well, we have updates on that story in particular, and it's not great. ICE is basically threatening to prosecute the two women who were there at the courthouse trying to protect this man's rights. And the top prosecutor for this particular courthouse in Charlottesville announced that there was going to be an investigation into the incident, and ICE is now attacking the prosecutor of that case, publicly making smears against him and trying to like make his life much worse. It's bad. Their statement goes, "It's shameful." And I want to note here that the reporting on this comes from dailyprogress.com, a local outlet. "It's shameful," wrote an ICE spokesman who declined to be named in a Saturday morning statement. And, you know, I just want to say it's really wild that, like, ICE knows how widely despised they are when even their spokespeople, the people who were hired to be the public PR face of the organization, don't want their name associated with the organization, you know? So yeah, it's wild. Now the targets of these arrests were Teodoro Dominguez Rodriguez, who was arrested in December. And I believe that he was in the courthouse on that particular occasion because he had some kind of domestic altercation with a family member. And the charge was allegedly being dropped in that particular appearance. That's why he was in court. It's a whole thing. The charge wound up being dismissed. And the other man is Pablo Aparicio Marcelino, who's 32, native of Mexico. And he had 4 like convictions for driving without a license and failing to stop at the scene of an accident. Okay. And he was currently clearing up a charge of driving while intoxicated. So both these men arrested at this courthouse in a very chilling scene. And I'll just play a little bit of it because to refresh your memories, this particular case.
Excuse me, you cannot impede me from my lawful duties. That's a crime. Do you understand? Do not touch me. Or
see, now you have this guy in a fucking balaclava over here coming over, and you see that it's actually quite scary that they're in a courthouse making threats
Impede me in my lawful duties, ma'am. Do you understand? It is a crime for you to do so.
Why? Do you have a warrant
Senor,
for his arrest? Do you have a warrant for his arrest?
Yes.
Where?
Hey,
warrant.
grab him.
The warrant for his arrest. Warrant signed by a
Get
judge.
off me, or I am calling the U.S. Attorney and prosecuting you for assault on a federal officer.
Show us the warrant
Back
for his
up.
arrest. Show us a warrant signed by a judge.
Turn him
You
around.
don't have a warrant.
Sir.
Show us a warrant for his arrest.
We are officers with Homeland Security.
You don't have a warrant signed by a judge.
All right, Senor Dominguez. No se preocupe.
You don't have to. You,
No necesitas decirle nada, no necesitas decirle nada sin abogado.
Got it?
No
Okay.
firme nada sin abogado.
Everybody ready? Yep. Let's go out, please. Vamos, señor, por favor. Sígueme.
Yeah, so that's terrifying. And you might be thinking to yourselves, hey, wait a minute, why are they like they look like they're just some guys, and like one of them put on like a face covering, but like they don't look like agents of any kind whatsoever. And there's a reason for that, because actually the agents identified in this video, well, let's go down to a really interesting part of this. All right. This particular part right here is very revealing. I'm just gonna read it here. The day before the courthouse raid, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin announced that the first wave of an immigrant detention operation had netted 531 arrests, including 132 with alleged gang affiliations. The operation was conducted by the Virginia Homeland Security Task Force, a federal state partnership established by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security on February 25th. All Virginians should be proud that our state troopers and corrections officers are a part of this incredible team of over 200 law enforcement officers, Youngkin said in an April 21st statement. The fact that so many agents appear to be recently deputized could explain why the Charlottesville raid strayed from typical operating procedure, according to one retired FBI agent. Quote, they probably don't have credentials, unquote, retired FBI agent Jane Collins told the Daily Progress. Quote, they also probably don't have experience arresting federal subjects, so maybe that explains the real departure from the way federal officers conduct business, unquote. ICE has not said what federal charges the two detained men, both local house painters, face. The two are no strangers to the local court system, etc. And it goes on to talk about the different legal woes of these two men. But just to clarify here, the reason these two guys, the men in this video, were so unprofessional and did not show the documents that they needed to show legally, is because they were recently deputized by the governor of the state and don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just going in and grabbing people because they've been told they have the authority to do it. It's disgusting. As a Virginia, I'm not fucking proud. Yeah, I would hope not. And honestly, I would encourage anyone who is from Virginia to call the governor's office and keep calling the governor's office. Fax the governor's office as well with demands to end this type of partnership with the federal government, because this is gross. This is disgusting. This is brown shirtery. So in response, the local prosecutor has gone on to say that he's going to continue his investigation into the events that transpired at the courthouse. And specifically the fact that the ICE agents did not produce proper paperwork or badges to the particular men who were being detained. They instead only provided that to the bailiffs inside the courthouse. which again is not identifying themselves to the people in question here. Now, the prosecutor in this case is one Jim Hingley, and he's standing by his investigation. It is a fact that the method chosen by ICE agents to make these arrests constituted a risk to public safety, and I stand by that statement, Hingley told the Daily Progress in an email. He also took a swipe at ICE. In Albemarle County, at least, if not at ICE, facts are facts, and I'm confident my constituents appreciate my efforts to bring facts to light. He said his investigation into the raid is ongoing, regardless of what ICE says. My investigation is balanced and impartial, and I have received input from the federal agencies involved in making the arrests, all the more reason it seemed to me to conclude that the ICE spokesperson's attack on my integrity was misguided. I leave it to my constituents to decide who was posturing for the media. And he says that with quotes around it. So, props. Yeah, I want to say, because also these two women who intervened in that video, who were trying to get those men to produce warrants, as is their legal right to do, ICE wants to prosecute them for obstructing justice. And this is why I said when I initially covered this story that what they were doing is heroic. Okay? Because there are very real consequences for being that kind of frontline responder to these types of incidents. And that's all the more reason why we should do it, why other folks should volunteer here. And the fact that they stood up for what is right, the fact that this prosecutor is standing up for what is right, the fact that, like, people are paying attention, we are paying attention, you guys are aware that this is happening. Make sure other people are aware this is happening, because these stories are going way underreported. That wasn't more like obstructing injustice. Exactly. They have a right to request identification from these men. And it is not good enough for them to just say, oh, we're agents from Homeland Security, because literally anyone can say that. You know, any 2-bit kidnapper can say, oh, I'm with Homeland Security, don't resist, and then just take you to a torture basement somewhere. So when we're talking about these stories, it's important. Do you know about the multi-agency raid of an underground nightclub at Colorado? Yeah, I have heard about that. And yeah, it was on an army base with like army security, right? I don't believe the official narrative that was put out by ICE, by the way. I don't believe that one bit. Where was the bailiff? Not in that video. I imagine that they basically just showed those documents to someone at the entrance to the courthouse and then went and just were doing whatever they wanted to inside, you know? Oh, it was near a military base? My understanding was that it had active duty, like, servicemen, like, as bouncers. It was bizarre. There were a lot of details about that story that I just find not convincing. Wonder if Kyle Clark has covered it? Probably. We should probably check in with Kyle Clark, as we should every so often, because he's good at what he does. It's literally how the St. Valentine's Day massacre happened. Gangsters dressed as cops, killing competition. Yep. Was the nightclub raid a huge escalation and that we should worry about? I mean, I don't think it's really an escalation. I think it's more in line with, like, raids on migrant working hubs, you know? It is that's more business as usual, unfortunately, from ICE. If this country survives, we should abolish ICE. Absolutely, 10,000%. Does anyone have a link to that video? Here you go. It's in this article. It's embedded. Anyway, I felt like we should update the story with what has happened since then, and there we go. We did it. We did it, everybody.
Riverboat deck is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch Imagine YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack. Riverboat.